Tools we will need for this job: Phillips screwdriver, flathead screwdriver, and possibly, but most likely not, an 8mm socket. So we take the Phillips screwdriver and we need to take out the 2 screws on top of the speedometer bezel first. The next step here is to pull the steering wheel down by releasing the lever and pull it all the way down, and then we're going to retighten it. We then take the flathead screwdriver and we have to pry out that bezel, that black bezel we took the 2 screws out from. Now that's only held on by pressure clips now, so you want to take the flathead and put it in that spot there. You want to be careful not to scratch the surface of your climate controller. We're going to go ahead and put it down through that crack and push back gently, and do the same on this side. And then we'll have some other spots on the left side to do. Now we're on to the top of the speedometer bezel. This one you just pull out with your hand. Make sure you're careful here. Because these are all pressure clips behind it, if your car is old or somehow they've gotten rusted, they might even break on you. So you want to be careful here. And if they do break on you, you have, at least you have more than one, so you should be fine. And now this trim bezel should be loose and have play in it like so. In order to remove that, we're just going to take it out by the bottom right there. Top of that, you want to apply pressure, not too hard, just like you see here. Apply pressure, then we can pull that out. But before we can fully take it out, we have to take out the power plugs, which are connected to the hazard switch, and also the switches on the left side of the column as well. So we're going to go ahead and press the tab down on the plug and pull back to remove the plug. This is the same process for the left side. And once you have these out, you don't have to worry about them mixing them up because they're all actually unique plugs and one won't plug into the other. Now we can pull this bezel trim out and then slide it up and just lay it on top of the dashboard. And here's actually an overview of the bezel. As you can see, we've got the plugs over here. We got one up there. And we have the 3 on the left side we took out. And as you can see, the pressure clips which we pulled out. And we're careful not to break these. And from the beginning, the 2 screws we pulled out. There's the back view, and here is the front view. So now your car should look like this. Plug should be hanging out, trim should be off, and the navigation should be visible. However, it's unfortunate we have to remove quite a few more things before we can actually get the navigation screen out. So we're going to start by opening the center console, and we have to remove those wood grain moldings. Yours may be black depending on what model you have. So in order for us to remove these moldings, we got to take the flathead and be careful not to scratch up the other surfaces. So put it where it needs to go, and you want to pull up. You want to help with your hand. Pull this up. They're just pressure clips, so you got to be gentle with them. So you pull up, and the last part you pull down. You slide it down and you pull back. And as you can see, those are the pressure clips we pulled out. And same concept for the other side. So we're going to use the flathead, put it where it needs to go, lift up gently, and then help with our hand, pull up. Then when we get to the other side, slide down. Should come right off. Next up we have the cup holder or center console. So we're going to take out some of the screws right here in order to slide this center console back. So here are the 3 screws we pulled out, and same thing for the other side. Now once those are off, you want to open the center console, and down in here there's a cover. Remove that and you shall see 2 Phillips screws. So we're going to go ahead and drive these out. And it's probably a good idea to keep track of your screws that you're removing. One way is by leaving them inside this console, for these screws at least, so you know where they came from. Now all that remains on this is to pull the center console back, and it should disconnect from the front console. The next step in this process is to remove this little trim piece around your shifter. All you have to do is take the flathead, pry up underneath so the clips come out. And again, be gentle with them. There's 4 clips. You should now have something that looks something similar to this. So we take the flathead again, and there is actually a release for the shifter. You have to put the screwdriver in the release hole, and you'll feel a little bit of resistance. You just have to go in and push down on that. That frees the shifter to go down into the lowest gear. which is where we want it to be, so we can then access this area back here. Now we take the Phillips and undo the sides here. There is one screw on this side and another screw on the other side. The next step we found in this process is to remove the heated seat controls, which are labeled L and R. And the way we did this is by taking the flathead and prying it down from one side and also helping out with your hand on the other side of that. After having it out, you'll notice the plug in the back. We just take the flathead and put it on the tab and then pull back on the actual control. Now these are labeled L and R, so you would not get them confused. R is for passenger or right side. L is for driver or left side. And same thing here, we're going to press down on the tab, pull back on the control, and it comes out. So now that seam right here is where this comes out. It's a plastic part. Use the flathead and apply pressure upwards. Then you can pull it out and get the plugs through the hole, and that should come freely. Then behind that we have two screws which are holding on that shifter console. Just take the Phillips and undo those. Now if you lose track of what screw went to what place, you can always go back through this video and look at the screws we pulled out. Hopefully they will be the same. Somebody may have taken this car apart at one point and put different kind of screws in, but for the most part they should be the same as yours. The next step is to remove the side plastic panels. These are actually held on by pressure clips. There are no screws for these. So we're just going to go ahead and gently pull these back. And you should see the gap in between this now. That should free up that console right there. So here we pull it out and we find that there is a plug in the back that is still connected. Like all the rest of the plugs, all it requires is pushing down on the tab and pulling it back. So now onto the radio. We find the screws on the left and right. Take the Phillips and drive these out. And moving on to the side of the radio, we have Phillips screws on these. These are actually short screws, so you want to be careful. These will probably fall if you take them out too fast. There also remains 2 screws on each side behind this tan panel. So in order for us to get this out, we just have to pull down on it on this side. As you can see, there are pressure clips. And now we have to go on the left side to do the same thing. This one may be a little bit more tricky. In order for us to pull this down, we have to first release the panel right here, this kick panel. We just release the side of it by pulling back, which is also held on by clips. And then we can freely remove the other panel. And we just pull back on this one as well. So now we have revealed the screws on the sides of the radio. We're going to go ahead and take the Phillips and unscrew those as well. And it looks like we need to unscrew 2 of them, the one down here in the bottom and the one on the left. And the left side also requires the same process. Now you may or may not have 8mm bolts where these screws are. So we're not sure if somebody actually put screws here instead of the bolts at an earlier time. But if you don't have screws, just take your 8mm socket and unscrew those. At this point, your radio should have a little play in it. Now we remove the left side. And after that, we should have the radio freely to come out. And as always, there will be plugs behind this unit. So first, the plugs on the climate control. And you shouldn't have to worry about mixing these up because the plugs are unique and they will only fit into the slots they come out of. Now onto the back of the radio, same process, 2 plugs and the antenna. Now if you want to learn how to replace the navigation screen, just continue on with the rest of the tutorial. So the navigation is locked in by 4 screws, 1 on each corner. It's very easy to take out, just get the Phillips and drive out all the screws. So here are the 4 screws we pulled out. Next up, we take the navigation out from its place and we see the plugs in the back. The white plug on the left is a little trickier. It's not like the regular tab, you just pull and pull back. First you must remove this black kind of tab on it. You have to take this out. Then we can easily remove the power plug. Now keep in mind, it's the same process when you put it back together. You put the white plug on, and then you put the black block down into it. And here we are putting it all back together in reverse order. It's basically the same thing we did. Everything is the same, just in reverse order. And so there you have it. If you would like any other tutorials, give us a message, give us a call, give us something, and we'll do our best to get it out there for you.